everyone. Welcome back to Thoughts on a Thursday. We are bringing it back for the new year here in 2024. We're so excited to be back. I am your host, Jenn Hernandez. And for those of you watching, you can see I'm joined by these three lovely people here. For those of you listening, you'll be hearing from them momentarily. But we're so excited to be back to the new year. We hope everyone had happy holidays and everything like that. We're so excited to get into this first episode of 2024, which we're going to be talking about mentorship and networking. So this is a big episode that we know that is super important in this sports management industry. For those of us that have, already been trying to tackle getting our foot in the door and then just navigating through our sports management programs, we just kind of want to shed some light on how things have gone for us with networking and mentorship and how we've seen like how important that is. So we just kind of want to talk about that and give you guys some tips and tricks, and hopefully you guys can take away some good things moving forward. So if you guys want to go ahead and open it up, I will let all of y'all shed some light on that.
I'll take this one. I think mentorship is important because one, if you're new to the field and you're still learning, much as I am, I'm making the switch from education to sports. I find myself lacking in certain, aspects of the industry. So having a mentor really helps when you're looking to find more information and just kind of learn. I mean, within the industry, you have to be curious and you have to want to learn something new every single day. So, kind of putting that, giving yourself that opportunity to meet with someone and talk with someone doesn't have to be on a daily basis or a weekly basis, but on a consistent basis that fits between the two is important, especially because if your mentor has already had experience within the industry, then they would be able to kind of guide you and lead you to where you want to be when you're older or even further into your career. I know USF has a mentor program, and I was paired with Rena, who is just amazing. And I mean, from the bat, she was like, "Hey, what do you want to do? What are your goals? What's your, you know, career job, your like ultimate position, right? Like what's the last place you want to be when you say I finally did it?" And then her and I sat together and we did a smart chart. So we made sure that all my goals were attainable and were measurable, holding each other accountable, whether that's her holding me accountable for making sure that I applied to X amount of jobs per month, whatever that looks like. It's always good to kind of keep somebody that's going to be there for you and support you through your journey. And then also just providing updates. I sometimes mentorships look two-sided and sometimes they only look one-sided. Why? Because you're the one providing that information, you're the one providing the updates, and then the mentor is like, okay, good, nice, not so nice, maybe we need to reevaluate this or rethink this. So just, I mean, mentorship is great. In my opinion, I've had such a good mentor since I started this program, and I look for more mentors in different aspects just because my mind is constantly growing and constantly looking to be placed into different departments.
I can go next. First of all, Happy New Year, y'all. Good to see you guys again. It's been
Yes,
a minute.
Happy New Year.
And then congrats on graduating. Greg and Jenn were officially done. I don't know if we've mentioned this prior, but
And you
Long
too,
Beach
Didi.
State. Thank you. We're out of there. We're done. Let's go.
We did it.
But mentorship. So as far as someone like mentoring me, like someone I talk to weekly and stuff like that, I did not necessarily have anyone like that, I guess, throughout my graduate degree. I did have a couple of people I would keep in touch with, like big shout out to Bill Schumart and Aaron. We would keep in contact and message every couple of months, just like to see how the progression is going and stuff like that. But as far as like someone taking me and like kind of guiding me step by step on how to manage this whole sports industry stuff, I kind of just had to do it with myself, with the help of others. When I landed my first job with the Clippers when I was in inside sales, my managers, Tina and Alex, big shout out to them. That felt like mentorship for sure. They would take me to the office every day. We'd listen to calls. We'd, we'd role play. And then they would make sure that I am progressing daily at least 1%. So I guess they were my mentors, now that I'm thinking about it. Shout out to Tina and Alex. Those are the mentors. But yeah, it's nice to have one though, to be honest, like, especially if you find someone who's in the direct line of field that you want to be in, that's kind of nice to have. So yeah, big shout out to mentors.
Are they people that you think you can keep in touch with now, like, now that you are in that kind of a role and just keep touch base with them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%, 100%. They're both the type that you can just randomly text them, just about random things, and then they'll just reply instantly. They're fantastic. Because like they gave me my start, in the sports industry. So it was kind of cool in that aspect. They really looked out for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think, going off what Alyssa said, having that mentorship program, I think could be something that's like super helpful for those that like are while you're going through the program. And then building your own or like, you know, asking for a mentor, I think is kind of a little intimidating. It's like a little bit
How'd you
of,
do that?
huh?
How would you do that? How'd you
Yeah,
ask
it's a
someone to be your
little
mentor?
weird, like, hey, will you be my mentor? Like, but so I think kind of just going at it, and this is how I approach networking just in general too, as far as just like being genuine and just like keeping those connections. I think eventually, if it's someone that you really just like look up to, and that you see that, have been successful, personally and professionally in ways that like you see yourself like kind of going, I think it's you know, you can kind of set. I mean, I don't have a mentor. I can just, let me just say that. But, I do feel like I want to get to the space where I have that person, in a professional kind of setting where I can come to them, for guidance and just like have those conversations of how I want to professionally grow myself and, from they can shed light on what they've gone through with their journey. But again, when it comes down to it for me, it's just being really genuine about that connection and not forcing it. So that's kind of just how I am in general. So maybe the timing hasn't come for me. I also know I maybe need to push myself out a little bit more of my comfort zone to kind of get to that space of where, I am kind of building that like mentorship type of relationship. So I definitely need like some accountability for that. But hopefully,
I second that. I'm the same way.
yeah, so hopefully I can get, to that point because I do think it would be super helpful.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Jen. Personally, I don't have a mentor right now, but I feel like they're very beneficial. Just someone to kind of hold you accountable, keep you on track, kind of take you under their wing. And there's like a lot of benefits for that. I feel like I said, it's part of timing and you don't want to force anything. So for me, I'm waiting on that opportunity, but I want somebody that aligns with kind of the route I want to take in sports, which is entertainment, being a director or a brand experience or something along those lines. And then I can help me better adjust on what I need to work on and kind of help me be guided to, that destination. So there's a lot of good things you can get out of having one. So if you can get one, or if there's a mentorship program in or the school you're going to, then I definitely would check it out and try to, see what they have available, and just use the resources that you guys have. And as far as networking, I feel like they're kind of similar with mentorship because you have to be genuine, you have to be open minded, you have to be willing to apply yourself. So just having those hand in hand, whatever direction, whether it's mentorship or networking, you can still, benefit from each one. So I think they're both, good things to have in your toolbox as you move forward in like your sports journey. So definitely, but I've had more emphasis on the networking part. And for me, it's like every time I go to a sporting event or wherever I tend to work, I definitely try to make good relation, meet as many people as I can, even if they're not even in the department that I'm in, just in passing. And, that definitely builds over time. And people kind of just notice that and it can kind of take you places you didn't really think of. So
100%. I want to touch up on networking as well because just having finished up the program right now, my biggest network was us, like your cohort, like when that went through the program together. Like I swear to God, we're all in such like cool positions now. Like if I ever need anything in Vegas, like I'm gonna hit you both up. You know what I mean? If I need anything in Long Beach, I have Leo. If I need anything out in Ontario, I got Paolo out there. Like
probably,
it's nice to have that connection with your classmates. You know what I mean? So I guess the word of advice is just get close to your classmates, really get to know them because you are going to be friends for life. And that's just one thing I've taken away from connecting and networking.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can piggyback off of that. DDA's, your cohort is your family at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You start the program, you end the program with them, and they're going to be your first line of communication whenever you need anything. And then they're going to be or you're going to be their line of communication as well.
Absolutely.
So it's like, and then a lot of the time it's not asking for things either. It's more of like, hey, look, there's an opportunity that came my way, but I'm not, gonna benefit this position. However, XYZ is, or
Absolutely.
my friend Knock, or my friend Jasmine, like she'd be perfect for that position, right? Or, so it's like a lot of the times it's not you asking for help, and it's definitely not them asking for help. It's them providing you with the opportunity, and you providing others within your cohort the opportunity to succeed. So, I mean, for anybody just going into a cohort program or a cohort setup in terms of their master's program, I mean, definitely, like DDA said, make friends. But also, just it's not more about making friends, it's making the connections, making the bonds within one another, because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, you never know who's gonna hire you and who you're gonna hire. So
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a good
Or
word. Make
or who's going
bonds.
to interview you too, because those same
yeah,
people in your cohort could, be the ones interviewing you, or hey, I thought of you and you have this similar skill to this job set. So, comes full circle for sure.
and I think that's so funny because I just had a personal experience where it's like I was on the phone with a few of my friends, and one of them has a position, and he's like, hey, yeah, like, the application comes out in March, apply, and then hopefully I get to interview you. And then,
That's so cool.
you can
See?
move along in the process. And I was like, dude, if I had this many connections in one place, bro, I'd be the first one to submit my application, like without a doubt. So I was like,
Absolutely.
it's not even within the sports industry, it's outside of the sports industry as well. So, and you never know, maybe, you end up going into the retail side of it and then make your way into the sports industry. That really doesn't matter. The point
Hmm.
is that you have the connections and you have the people there that want to support you in that.
Yeah.
And that is how you build your network. That is how you make the most the most memorable connections and the most meaningful ones at that.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think kind of how Greg touched on earlier, it's like, he goes into every opportunity just like genuinely like having these conversations with people, because at the end of the day, it's like, if it's 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road, like, if you stuck out to those people and you come in with like the best intentions, like putting your best foot forward, it's like those little connections, those little conversations are always gonna like help you out. But I do want to touch on, the whole core using your cohort and like leaning on them. I think you do come in with like a preset of, of a network, even though you may not choose it. If you are in like a cohort
Absolutely.
program type of setting, like how Alyssa said, it's like they're there. Definitely lean on them, and lean on one another as you're navigating through it. But because they can be there, they can be helpful for you during and then after as well. I think that's a great place to start, for those type of connections. Do you guys
100%.
have any like piece of advice when it comes to either, maybe asking for a mentor, you, Alyssa, that have, gone through that, or how, what are your biggest takeaways when it comes to networking? If it's one thing that can be shared to anyone else, like just, being a little hesitant to build their network and things like that.
You said something, Jen, earlier that I really like. You said be genuine about it. And I think that goes a long way, like people can tell when someone is just like talking to them just because of the position that they're in, rather than actually getting to know them as a person. I think that does go a long way. So just building that genuine connection and genuinely getting to know the person outside of their position and what they do, I think is key to building that network and that connection, I guess.
I would say with building a connection, kind of piggyback off of Didier, I would say just don't be content like with once you get that networking opportunity and you're like, I'm gonna just stop right here. You're gonna keep elevating. I feel like that's important just because that one connection could take you to the next connection, and they can all be in a sense connected. But it's like you want to keep
I like
taking
that.
those steps to get to where you're trying to go. I just feel like that's important. Just don't be content and or stagnant. Keep pushing and keep elevating in
Yeah,
that
it's not
sense.
linear. Like it could be a web of things, that'll get you to the bullseye. So I think definitely like don't let one connection like it's not ever the
Mhm.
end. So what about you, Alyssa?
Yeah,
I agree.
build off of those. Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, I think you guys you said it all. But I think just the one thing that, I mean, my perspective is a little different just because of the experience that I have within education and how I'm trying to translate that to the sports industry. But much like DDA said, like make sure that you're genuine. One, you're interested in their position. Okay, that's great, but you know, talk to them as a person because at the end of the day, they're a human first before they hold
Mhm.
a position in whatever
Facts.
title they
100%.
have. You know, much like Greg, don't just settle. I mean, one of my professors told me, give yourself a goal. Maybe you want to do 2 informational interviews a month. Maybe you want to do 3, Those are going to be the ways that you increase your network because you may hold an informational interview for somebody within the data department, learning about how they capture their data for venue ops and, how they make sure that they get their fans there 2 hours earlier, right? And then knowing a little bit about what they do can help you in event operations or in guest services because that's going to give you the upper hand in making sure that you do your job better every single day that you come into work. So definitely the departments are interconnected. Networking is definitely interconnected within mentoring, but at the same time, or kind of just to make the switch into mentoring, um, because I know you guys mentioned that you didn't have a mentor, and I do. I just feel that pick somebody, or don't pick, but look for people who you aspire to be in life, right? So if you have a director that's really punctual and really detail oriented and color codes everything, and you want to be that person, ask questions. How did you become this detail? What made you so detail oriented? Why do you like color coding? What colors do you associate with certain things? That's my favorite question. Like if somebody were to ask me, "Oh yeah, what color do you associate with education?" I would say red. Why? Because red is related to love and I love education. Whatever it is, like it's
It's
so
so
crazy.
funny.
Like
I
how
would
did
have thought like
that
yellow or
small
That
something.
works.
like
That works.
no, yeah, like there's yellow reminds me of PE. I don't know why, because I'm always in the sun, Like there's just so many different thought processes that you can come by in terms of like just being curious about why they do things, and then
Mhm.
at the same time you want to look at their morals and values. Like does that person morals and values align up with your professional morals and values? May not be personal, because sometimes you always want to separate personal and professional, but just being curious and making sure that you ask the questions that you want because you're comfortable with them, and then that's how the mentorship starts. I got lucky because my program was able to pair me with somebody who had similar interests with me and similar um kind of pathways. Like I came from a nonprofit, so that would relate to community relations and foundations. But that's the way we ended up getting paired. But at the same time, we had a whole different conversation, which made it even better. But yeah, that would be my tip for people who don't have a mentor: is just look for somebody who you want to be 5, 10 years down the line, and then ask your questions. Remember, they're human first, and then just start. Always be curious at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well said,
go ahead.
Alyssa. Mhm. No, I was just saying, well said, Alyssa. Just definitely picking the brain of whose shoes you see yourself down the road filling. I feel like that's important, because you never know when the opportunity is going to come or when you're
Mhm.
ready to start that next position. So get the work in early.
Yeah. No, I
Definitely.
think that's a great takeaway, especially for someone like me, like how I mentioned earlier. It's a little weird to ask somebody like, "Will you be my mentor?" But, I think you kind of um can build on that with asking those questions like how Alyssa mentioned. So, I think that's definitely some good takeaways we provided here. And yeah, so thank you guys for always being open and honest about your guys' journeys and what you've gone through and has been helpful for you guys. And I look forward to talking to you guys on the next episode.